Powered by Riverside FM.
Hey, man, the first day of training camp is here. Veterans reported yesterday. We about to get this thing cracking today. It's nasty weather out there, man. It's humid here in Minnesota. It is absolutely disastrous outside. So I wouldn't be surprised if they move this thing inside. But anyway, outside of the weather, man, this is like Christmas. Like, I've grown to really love the offseason. Like, I like the draft. I like free agency. I like all the speculation. But I'm telling you, UP Nation, there is nothing like the first day of training camp in Eagan, Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings have the facility. They got the setup. Fans are going to be allowed on Saturday. So, man, this thing is about to get cracking, and I can't wait. Couple of updates, some injury updates, man. People that are going to start on the PUP list, the two notables are Gavin Bartholomew, our tight end, and this is kind of surprising me because I know that he came in with some injury issues when he was at Pittsburgh, but I thought that he would be ready to go. And for a guy like that, looking at possibly that third tight end spot, man, starting training camp on the PUP list is not a good place to be. There's been speculation of the Minnesota Vikings bringing in another third tight end for a little bit of competition there. Of course, TJ Hockenson is solidified. Josh Oliver is solidified. But that third tight end spot, you're going to get some run. If you look at the amount of snaps that the Minnesota Vikings used with their three tight end sets last year, it was a lot. So this is not a situation where if you are a third tight end that you're not going to get any run. So starting the season on the PUP list for Gavin Bartholomew, it's not ideal for him. I'm not saying that he's not going to make the team. I'm just saying that it's not ideal in terms of him having the ability to be able to solidify that third tight end spot. Now, when you start on the PUP list in training camp, it's a little bit different than like the season. If you're on the PUP list in season, you're out automatically for 4 games. We remember that from TJ Hockenson last year. Started on the PUP list, unable to perform, and he didn't come back until halfway during the season. Like, he had his 4 games that we knew he was going to be out, but that thing got extended. He got off the PUP list, but basically KOC didn't put him out there until he needed to put him out there. Gavin Bartholomew, rookie tight end, is going to start on the PUP list, and he can come off that thing anytime in training camp as long as it's within that training camp window. But the fact that he's starting on the PUP list means no reps for him, not being able to get out there, and allowing somebody else to be seen in Gavin not being seen. That's a problem for Gavin. Chaz Chainless is also on the injury list, the PUP list, physically unable to perform list. These players, like, he can return to practice once he's cleared, but again, he's not going to get the reps that he needs to start this thing. And that linebacker spot, that edge rusher spot is deep. So the longer you're out there, the longer you're not able to perform. I think that hurts a guy like Chaz Chainless. I think some other guys are going to be seen. They're going to be morphing guys around, trying to see who can play what. And when you're not a part of that, especially early in training camp, it's an early way to get forgotten. It's an early way to get forgotten, man. So that's 2 critical PUP list guys that are just going to miss some time. And it's not ideal for them. I'm not saying these guys aren't going to make the roster, but I do think that it makes it a little bit tough for them to etch out their niche on this team early on. So definitely an issue. Christian Darasaw, last time we saw him was in minicamp, had that big knee brace on. That was a great sight to see, but I don't think they're going to rush Christian Darasaw. I wouldn't rush Christian Darasaw. I mean, these ACL tears are tricky, and they're different with different position players. Like, if this was a running back, wide receiver, stuff like that, you may want to start to get him some reps. You know, you may, looking at the timeline, have him be in pads in practice because you could control it a little bit. You would start to, be a little bit more hesitant to put him out there with live bullets in terms of preseason games. but at least you can start the process of him getting back. Christian Darasaw, man, is roughly over 300 pounds. And so when your base is compromised, like Christian Darasaw, these big guys, these offensive linemen, even the defensive linemen, like you don't want to bring these guys back too quickly. And the reason why I say that is, man, think about the position. Think about the spot. You're going to have these heavy defensive ends, these edge rushers trying to bull rush you, trying to get around you. You've got to be able to move your feet. Your base has to be good. Your wheels have to be good, UP Nation. And so with a guy like Christian Darasaw coming off an ACL, man, you just got to make sure he's right and not put him out there. I mean, think about it. 2 of our stud offensive linemen are questionable. Christian Darasaw with that ACL and Will Fries. We'll talk about Will Fries in a minute. But you don't want to make a mistake and bring these guys back too early. Because now all the work that you've done in the offseason in terms of your offensive line, man, you can blow that thing up before it gets started. So I hope the Minnesota Vikings, and I know they will, I know their training staff, I know their coaching staff, hopefully the Minnesota Vikings will ease these guys back in to their roles as this mini camp goes on and not rush things. Will Fries, again, injured. You know, that leg is getting better, but again, he is your top prize free agent, whatever you want to call him. He's the biggest free agent signing that the Minnesota Vikings signed this offseason. 5-year contract, which is huge. You don't want to bring him back too early from that leg injury. And the great thing about that is that the Minnesota Vikings have been able to plan how they want to progress with Will Fries because he's coming from the Indianapolis Colts to the Minnesota Vikings with that injury. So the training staff was able to get on top of that really, really quickly. I have no doubt that Will Fries, I think, is going to be ready to go by game 1 during the season. I'm not really worried about whether or not he's going to be able to go game 1. But the Minnesota Vikings, again, they got to take care of and make sure that they are not going to overwork this guy in training camp and preseason. Make sure that he's ready for game 1. One guy that I wanted to see, and I wish him the best this year, is Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore has always kind of been injury prone, and I would like to see him have a shot at being that third wide receiver. But again, he's coming in injured, man, and this has kind of been what Rondale Moore has been his career. Like, he's got all of this talent, man. He's like a joystick. He's got a lot of speed. He's the type of guy that KOC wants in his offense, but they drafted a Ty Felton because I believe that Rondale Moore probably will not be ready to go. And if Rondale Moore is not ready to go by the season start, like, I think Rondale Moore is going to have a hard time making this team because the Minnesota Vikings have a lot of options and they have some pretty good depth at that spot. And again, man, when the best ability is availability and guys that can't perform on this team, on this roster, man, it's just going to be tough. The Josh Metellus contract situation, man, is starting to irk me. I kind of see both sides. I just want to get this guy done. I want to get his contract done. I don't know, when you're looking at the dollars, if the Minnesota Vikings want to invest that deeply in a Josh Metellus. And that's not saying that he's garbage and he's not worth it, but I understand down the line how the Minnesota Vikings want to build this team. And I think a lot of people take these things personally, like if they don't sign Josh Metellus right away, that they think he's garbage and he can't play. That's not necessarily the case. Like, you got to think 2 to 3 steps ahead, especially with this money. The Minnesota Vikings are in a fantastic, man, situation where they got their future franchise quarterback under that rookie contract. And so now you're looking at things 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now on how you want to build this roster. And the worst thing that you can do is overprice someone and give them the bag where now you're kind of handcuffed and restricted. And I think that's what Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the Wilfs, are looking at when it comes to a Josh Metellus. Do they want to get him into camp? Absolutely. Do they value Josh Metellus? Absolutely. But it's about how much do you want to invest with Josh Metellus, UP Nation, Purple Gang, Skull Nation? And for how long? How long? Like, what do you think is a reasonable contract for Josh Metellus going forward that won't handcuff the team? Because there's going to have to be other additions down the line. Like, they're going to have to secure that secondary eventually. Like they addressed the defensive line, like they addressed the offensive line during the offseason. At some point, they're going to have to address the secondary. And then you look at a guy, this is a long ways away from now, but then you look at a guy like J.J. McCarthy, if he hits, you're going to have to come up off a lot of money there. Now, the salary cap is probably going to go up each year. So that's going to affect the amount of money that the Minnesota Vikings can spend. But I see both sides. Like, I want Josh Metellus here. We know the value of a guy like Josh Metellus, but I understand Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and the boys being a little bit hesitant and want to make sure that they get the numbers right so they don't strap this football team down the stretch. And it's tough, man, because it's easy to get emotionally attached to a guy like Josh Metellus. He's a baller and he's a leader, but the Minnesota Vikings so far under this regime has done the right things in terms of how the contracts are formed for this organization. Man, first day of training camp, can't wait. Fans arrive on Saturday. Can't wait for that. We'll keep you updated here on Unconventional Playbook. This has been Unconventional Playbook. Please take a second to hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And again, man, we'll make sure to see you when we see you. Skol!